As you get older and older, the gap gets bigger and bigger. So when we look at high blood pressure from the ages of 18 to 34, we're 12%. But when you look at Caucasians, they're 10%. From ages 35 to 49, we're 30%, 33%. They're 22%. Go over to diabetes, go over to stroke. It is always like that. All right, next slide. Now, it says African Americans are more likely to die at early ages from all causes. Why are we subjected to dying earlier than any other race from all causes? Is it the food we eat? Is it the environments and the communities that we set up in? Is it the products? Is it the contaminated water? Is it the air pollutants? Because you can put a Caucasian, you can put an Asian, and you can put the minorities, which is Latinos and blacks, all in the same environment, and we will die faster. Why is that? Is it something going on with our genes? Is it something in our DNA? Or is it family traditions? Huh? You see that? And the thing I noticed in the black community and the Latino community, they always say, well, my grandmother had diabetes, that's why I got diabetes. My grandma had high blood pressure, that's why I got high blood pressure. My grandma had heart failure, that's why I have heart failure. But if you look, these are not genetic diseases that is passed down through the genes. It is traditions that's passed down. You eat the same foods that grandma ate. You drinking the same contaminated water that grandma drank. You see that? You gotta notice Thanksgiving coming up. What's all going to be on your plate on Thanksgiving? And usually it's going to be things that we go over that cause your heart to do what my heart did when I turned 21. Starting at your age right now. Now, I'm not saying go home and be saying, I'm not eating that no more. I don't want your mama calling me saying I'm causing an uproar in her household. I'm just saying start questioning and present questions in a respectful way to your mother and to your father to make them think. That way they're like, you know what, son, you know what, daughter, that do make sense. Why am I feeding you this stuff that's going to give you heart failure when why am I feeding you this stuff that's going to give you diabetes when you turn 21? And then they'll start changing the food that's in the household. Next slide. Now, let's start talking about STDs, because I think it's very, very important that we cover stuff like this, especially our ages. Y'all starting to get into relationships with each other. Y'all starting to like each other. Sex is very, very important. It is a great responsibility that comes with it. Look at the HIV rate. Look, it's always black male to male sexual context, Hispanics, Latino male to male, white male to male. Then you start getting into heterosex. Notice, no matter if we're talking about homosexuality or heterosexuality, guess who's the highest when it comes to HIV? Blacks are. Then guess who's next? Latinos. So what is really going on? So even when it comes to STDs, we catch it first, we keep them the longest, and we die from it fast. It sounds like this is systematically done to me. Alright, next slide. What about gonorrhea, chlamydia? Who is the highest? Look, it's us. It's always us. And that's why we have to be responsible. That's why you just can't be going to laying down with everybody. And that's why you need to wait to a right age before you even start even contemplating having sex. Because stuff out here like this truly exists. And it makes it worse. You have a cute immune system because you've been eating the wrong foods. Next slide. Even herpes. Look at this. We're always the highest. Non-Hispanic blacks, Mexican American, total population, non-Hispanic. You look, we're the highest when it comes to herpes as well. Next slide. Now, I want y'all to look at this beautiful black family up here, because me as a biochemist and as a human biologist, when y'all look at this picture, y'all just see human beings. But when I look at this picture, I see cells that make up these human beings. And according to the cells and the environment that these cells in, that's what actually it sets the precedence of your health. So we're gonna look at this and we're gonna take a magnifying glass and we're gonna dive deep into the cells of these people and let's see what we find. Next slide. So, if you look at the human body, everybody in here have a spirit, and that spirit is in a vessel called a human body. So you are humans. Now, the human body is actually made up of all these cells. So if you look at the human body, most people have 50 to 150 trillion cells that make up the human body. Now, these cells end up making what you will call organs, and then these organs make organ systems, and then these organ systems make a full-grown organism of what you will call a human being. So when you look at the human body is made of muscle cells, culture stem cells, blood cells, nerve cells, cardiac cells, liver cells, and intestinal cells. Many more cells make up the human body. Next slide. So you have bone cells, you have lung cells, you have brain cells, you have heart cells, pancreatic cells, sperm cells, kidney cells. So if you're a human body and your body is made up of cells, and then you get a disease, do you, the human, have the disease, or is the disease on a cellular level? Because every cell that makes up your body is what makes you human in the first place. So a lot of people, they go, y'all eat for convenience. Y'all eat because it's quick food, or y'all eat for taste. When is the last time that you actually went into the kitchen, looked into the refrigerator and said, let me see, I want to feed my cells something good. Not because it tastes good, but it actually has the nutritional value in the food to actually rebuild the cell on the cellular level. Instead of eating chicken, they got your hot sauce in it because it tastes good. It's part of tradition. Or eating your hamburgers and eating your pizzas because it tastes good. Today, we all go home, I want y'all to open up that refrigerator, and I want y'all to look at the food and say, what is this food doing to my body? Is either going to kill my body and give me energy, or it's going to rob my body, make me dehydrated and give me disease. That's how you have to start looking at your food. Okay, next slide. Alright, now, this is a human cell. So remember, the body is made of 150 trillion cells. Now, when you look at the cells, these cells break down into something called organs. So on a macro, your body has organs. On a micro, the cells that make up your body have something called organelles. All organelles mean small organs. So every cell in your body that makes up you, who you are, which is a human being, has its own organ system, has its own endocrine system, has its own respiratory system, has its own digestive system. So have anybody here ever been constipated where they couldn't go to the bathroom? Raise your hand. I know I have. Okay, so y'all have. Now imagine being constipated on the cellular level. You see it? And if anybody here had breathing problems, who here have asthma? Raise your hand. Imagine your cells, because your cells have a respiratory system. Imagine your cells not having the ability to breathe. It's called hypoxia. Literally, when your cells have asthma, because your cells have a respiratory system. Have anybody here had any type of bladder issues right there? That's good. I'm glad I did. But your cells have a bladder. So we want to start going through these cells. We want to show you that on the cellular level, you get sick first before you get sick on the actual human body level. It always starts with the cells, and 99.9% of the time is with the foods that you choose to put in your body. Do y'all got y'all goals yet? Y'all got goals? Raise your hand. Y'all got goals on being rich and being wealthy when y'all get older? Raise your hand. Buying your mama and buying your pops a house, driving the best cars, luxury, living in a big house with a nice family. Raise your hand. Do y'all realize it's going to be very, very hard for you to complete that task if you're sick, if you land on your deathbed because of the things that you put in your body, environmental pollutants, water that you choose to drink, sexual encounters because you're not even taking sexual education seriously. All these things stop you from growing and living the life you want because you're going to be in pain if you don't change your life around now. It starts at the age you are right now. I'm a prime example of that. Okay? Do y'all realize how many 15-year-olds come to my clinic with glioblastoma, brain tumors in the back of their brains, never knew it happened? Few headaches, a few migraines, they go to the doctor, they get an MRI, and they have a grapefruit-sized tumor in the back of their brain. Only 6 months to live max. That's what they always come in with us in. How many 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds come see you with leukemia, which is with cancer inside the blood, respiratory failure? I'm talking about at all ages. And then we start doing the research, and we start taking their blood, and we analyze their blood, and we find all these metals, we find all these toxins, and all these pollutants in the blood, and usually it's actually coming from the food they eat or the environment that they eat. So I'm just here trying to warn y'all to shift and change what y'all eating and how y'all look and interact with y'all food. So y'all don't have to come to St. Louis to see me because y'all do have grapefruit-sized tumors in the back of y'all heads and pollutants in y'all blood. All right, next slide. So we're looking at a black man here. We see letters on this black man. These letters represent the DNA. If you look at DNA stands for DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. And this is actually the blueprint that remakes your cells. Next slide. So inside of DNA, your DNA has something called chromosomes. Alright? 23. You get them from your mother and your father. These chromosomes have your genetic material inside of them. And it is wrapped with these like shoestrings. And this is actually what protects your DNA. So if you literally damage your skin. Say if you fall down and you scrape your knee and you literally ruptured your skin. What heals your skin is new genetic material from your DNA. Now, guess what messes up your DNA? Smoking. Guess what damages your DNA? Drinking alcohol, especially in large consumptions, environmental pollutants, herbicides, insecticides, pesticides, which is what they spray on our foods. And then the last but not least, which is the biggest one, is processed foods. Anybody know what a processed food is? Raise your hand. Who know what a processed food is? I want any teenager know what a processed food is? Raise your hand. Let me get a teenager to come down and explain what a processed food is. Come on up. Who got it? You got it? Come on. Don't be scared, man. You shout out. If you know what a processed food is, come down. I got a prize for you. Look, now he's saying nothing. Come on. Come down. If you can tell your classmates, y'all get to them. If y'all can tell your classmates what a processed food is, I got a prize for you. We're going to start with you first, young brother. So what's a processed food? What's your definition of a processed food? Processed food? That's very unhealthy. Say right there, what's a processed food? Your definition of a processed food?
Processed food is fake unhealthy food like meat or chips. It's processed, it's fake. Inorganic.
That's the definition of a processed food. And you ain't have that definition. Since we had the primary coming over, we need to know too. So the definition of a processed food is food that has been through any different machineries to make it quick and make it available where you can eat it at a very fast convenience. So a processed food is like a potato chip. So your body has a natural processing machine mechanism in it. Soon as you chew your food, you grind your food up. Soon as you swallow your food, it goes down your esophagus, and then your salivary glands starts to secrete this mucus and something called amylose and amylopectin. This helps break down the food even more. Then the food enters into your stomach, and then it is heated up through something called hydrochloric acid. So you're literally cooking and baking down the food. Then what happens is it goes to something called the caloric sphincter, and then all the nutrients from that food is extracted. Then the nutrients go into the bloodstream and it feeds the cells in your body, but the macro waste goes out of the tailpipe, what I'm going to call your rectum, and you poop it in the toilet. Did y'all know a potato chip go through the same thing before you even eat it? So when you eat processed food, you actually eating waste bowel movements. So whenever you eat a potato chip, whenever you eat a piece of pizza that's been frozen in the oven, it'll went through so many different processes and machines that all the nutrients have been extracted from it. So you literally eat the waste byproduct of that food. So the young brother had it right. The processed food is highly processed, ultra processed, fake, non-organic, non-alkaline foods. And that's what's killing us in the Black and Latino community. All right, next slide. We can keep going, though, we can refer to it. Keep going. Alright, so now let's talk about the DNA. So deoxyribonucleic acid is a self-replicating material which is present in nearly all living organisms and the main constituents of the chromosomes. It is the carrier of all your genetic information, instructions that's used for your growth, development, functioning in your actual reproduction. And this is what we're damaging when we're not eating right. This is what we damage. How many of y'all like broccoli? Raise your hand. Let's give yourself a round of applause. Okay. A lot of schools I go to, they say they don't like broccoli at all, which is actual powerful food for cells. How many of y'all like our dark leafy greens and eat salads? Raise your hand. That's good. How many of y'all like pizza? Raise your hand. Hamburger, raise your hand. We're going to try to change it today. Now, if you took the DNA from all the cells in your body and lined it up from end to end, it would form a strand 6,000 million miles long, but very, very thin. This is how much information you have in each individual cells of your body. If I was to take all of the DNA and all the information out of each and every last one of your cells and line it up, it would be 6,000 million miles long, y'all. That's the information that is inside of you. But it's hard for you to unlock that information if you doped up off of all of the sugars and doped up off of all these meats and all of the stuff that you've been putting in your body since you've been born. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. You keep going, I want to get to it. Keep going. Keep going. Alright, so cellular lifespan. So your intestinal cells are called colon cells. They die off about 4 days. So every 4 days, your entire digestive cells die and re-replicate themselves. So you have to ask yourself, if colon cells die off about 4 days, then how do we have people with colon cancer for 2 years? Somebody get colon cancer and have it for 2 years, but your colon cells die and replenish themselves every 4 days. Your sperm cells have a lifespan of about 3 days. So then we got people that can't even procreate, but every 3 days you get new cells in your sperm. Then you have your entire outer layer of your skin replaces and regenerates itself every 27 days. So every 27 days your skin replaces itself. So how do you still have acne for 6 months? How do you have eczema for 2 years if your skin replenishes itself? And then have you ever got to a tub and you set the tub along and you scrub real good and you get out the tub and you see that black ring around the tub? That's not dirt. That's actually dead skin. So when you take a shower, you take a bath, and you leave that ring around that tub, that's actually not dirt. That is dead skin. That's your skin replacing itself. So if every cell in your body dies and reverses itself, then why are we stuck in this disease phase? That's going to be the question. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. All right, so these are the importance of our foods. I want y'all to repeat after me. Every food must have amino acids. Come on. Every food must have amino acids. So these are important things that y'all need to start making sure that's in y'all foods. The adequate amount of amino acids are what they call proteins. The next thing is lipids. Every food must have lipids. Say it after me. Every food must have lipids. Lipids are your fats, so what you call your fatty acids. The next one is called carbohydrates. This is where you get your sugars from. Every food must have carbohydrates. Say it after me. Every food must have carbohydrates. I'm going to give somebody a quiz on this when we're done too. Okay, so we have proteins, we have lipids, we have carbohydrates. The last thing is minerals. Every food must have minerals. Repeat after me. Every food must have minerals. Who remember all 4 of those? Raise your hand. You down with the glasses. Just raise your hand with your regular email. Yep, come on. Let's see if you got it. Let's see if you got these 4. Let's see if you got it. Give them a round of applause. You ready to come up here? So there's 4 things that's inside the food that you must have to stay healthy. Word. Carbohydrates, lipids, minerals, and
amino acids.
protein. So, I want y'all to write that down whenever y'all get a chance to start making sure that these things are in y'all foods, because that's what helps rebuild your cells and keep you healthy. Amino acids and proteins is what builds your tissues and builds your muscles. The actual lipids and the fatty acids is what actually feeds your brain. Your brain eats on 97% of fatty acid, or what you call lipids. The carbohydrates is what keep you hydrated, and these are sugars that's actually used for your cells to have vitality and energy. And then the minerals is keep the electrical conductivity of your cells. Alright, next slide. Next slide. So, let's talk about minerals. So minerals are very, very important because minerals actually keep your DNA tightly stuck together. So if you are eating food that lacks zinc, that lack magnesium, that lack calcium, that lack iron, that lack sodium, selenium, and that lack all these things, then it's hard to keep that DNA, keep that information together to keep you healthy. Next slide. Now when you start looking at the benefits of these, so calcium. Calcium is mostly needed in the structural system. This is for your teeth and your bones. How many of y'all here broke a bone before? Did it take long to grow back, or did it grow back fast? Depending on how long it took to grow back, that depends on your calcium and your magnesium levels. So you literally are eating to replenish and to regenerate the body. So calcium is for the teeth and for the bones. Then you look at something called copper. Copper is found in the central nervous system. How many of y'all have brain fog? That come in, you have memory loss. You can study for a whole quiz, and then when it's time to take the quiz, you can't remember none of the answers. Anybody ever had that issue? That's because you're lacking copper. You see that? And guess what? You can find copper in. You can find it in your seaweeds. You can find copper in the broccoli. You can find copper in a bunch of foods that we're going to go over. Let's pick another one. What about magnesium? Magnesium is found in the digestive tract, the nerves, the tissues, and memory. So magnesium is what relaxes your valves and have blood flow through your valves. So anybody that have fast heart rate, anybody that have anxiety, hard time swallowing, anybody that got a nerve issue where it's twitching or they can't sit still, that means that you need your relaxation mineral, which is magnesium. You can find these things inside sweet potatoes. You can find these things inside dark leafy greens, especially watercress and things like that. But if you're not eating these foods, bringing in these minerals, bringing in these lipids, bringing in these carbohydrates, and bringing in these proteins, then your body slowly starts falling apart because it damages your body on a DNA level. Next slide. So, this is a perfectly healthy body. Look at how the DNA is nicely structured. But let's say this person decides, you know what, I want to eat pizza, I want to eat hamburgers, I want to eat candy, and I want to suck down sodas every single day. What happens is you start missing the minerals that keep the DNA tightly compacted so the DNA starts to break. This is where your sickness and your disease start setting in. Alright? Then, say you don't detox or you don't change your ways. Next thing you know, the DNA fully fractures itself, and this is what you will call a dead cell or a reoccurring damaged cell. And this is what they call incurable diseases. But notice, it's only incurable because you didn't choose to stop at this point and go back to this point, which means to eat the healthy and right foods. Alright, next slide. 6 minutes. Alright, we can do it now. Alright, you can go back to that last slide then. Let's go back to the last slide. Alright, so I want to talk about things that you can eat to make you feel better. I'm not saying change your diet overnight. I'm saying is just start adding things to your diet. So if you want a pizza, add a salad. If you're going to eat your chicken wings, make sure that you add a salad. Start adding salad about the portion of your fish to all of your meals. This will greatly change your body. It'll give you a lot of mental clarity. It'll cleanse your digestive tract. So just start putting side salads on all your dishes. And then from there, when you start feeling better, then you can start adding your fruits. And then from there, when you start feeling better, you can say, hey, Mom, Pop, I want to go a whole week without eating any fried foods. You can still cook the foods, but let me lay off the fried foods. I'm not saying you have to change everything you're doing overnight. I'm just trying to change it piece by piece and see how you start feeling and interacting with yourself, and then you can go all the way there if you choose to. Now get that? Alright, so do y'all got any questions? I'm gonna quiz one more person before we get up out of here too. Anybody got any questions? What's your question, bro? You can come up here and ask it for everybody to hear you. 2.
Here you go. Good morning. It's a blessing to be in your presence.
Thank you.
So my quick question is, what do you think about,
Hey, y'all, calm down. Let's hear him talk, y'all.
what do you think about diet amongst the blood types? Everybody has a different blood type, so we have A, B, A, B, and O. And everybody in this room has a different blood type, so I'm wondering what's your take on that?
So I can tell you what's my take and my findings on that. So eating for it's a book called Eating for the Right Type, right? Talking about eating for blood type. But what I notice is, because I'm very, very deep into hematology, and we put people on diets all the time, especially cancer patients, and we notice when we put them on diets that their blood type change. So if we supposed, and you can Google this right now, if we supposed to eat for our blood type, then why does blood type change? They say it's a rare occurrence, but out of the 15 years of me doing this, we have seen over 50 people blood type change due to them changing their diet. So when their blood type changes, we change the diet back to something else. So what I found is eating right for your blood type is not accurate at all. And I think a lot of it is placebo. I think a whole lot of it is placebo. But it's actual evidence, scientific evidence, and clinical trials on it. We in the clinic every single day, we see people's blood type change depending on their environmental situation that they're in. So I don't follow that at all. Now, eating right for your biology, I do consider that. I think that, Latinos and so-called Black Americans do share a lot of the same ancestry. And I notice when we eat according to that diet, basically that Mediterranean diet, it does the body better than eating from a European standpoint. And the same thing with Europeans. When Europeans come over and start really eating like us, they get better after a while, but it really it has a habit type of reaction on their system. And that's another thing that we get into called race-based medicine, showing us since we are different people, we do look different, our hair is different, our DNA is different, and our ancestral line is different. Then maybe our diets and our medicines will be different as well.
All right, good.
Right there, come on, man. Right there. Yeah, get the young man right there.
You right there, brother.
So I wanted to ask, what is the best diet for muscle building?
But the best diet for muscle protein?
For muscle building.
For muscle building, so this is the thing I want you to do is, I want you to just sit back and think about who is the strongest in the animal kingdom that doesn't eat meat and that looks just like us. Of course, we don't come from them, but we share the same type of resemblance. It's the actual gorilla. Now, my question is, do the gorilla eat meat? The gorilla don't eat meat. Then you can look at 2-ton animals in the animal kingdom like the horse and like the cow and like the gazelle. They get up to 2 sons. I'm talking about 97% muscle mass, 3% body fat. Do they eat meat? They do not eat meat. So where are they getting their protein? They get their protein from dark, leafy, green vegetables. So if you really want to gain muscle protein, you gotta make sure that you're working out and really stressing and tearing the muscle fibers to get all the minerals and get all the amino acids that you need. I wouldn't go to the middleman, which is the meat protein. I would go to what the meat go to eat. If they go eat the dark leafy greens to get their protein, and they can get up to 97% muscle mass and only 3% fat, then eat what they eat. So alpha sprouts is a good one. Alpha sprouts. That's what they feed horses. When horses get very, very skinny from eating hay, they give them alpha sprouts. They completely change their whole muscle and fat composition around within 1 week. So alpha sprouts. Another one is all of your dark leafy greens, especially your microgreens. Another one is broccoli. Broccoli is full of what you would call carboxylic acid or amino acid protein. So I think you should stick with dark leafy green vegetables. and then do a lot of body weight workouts. You know what I'm saying? I see you tickle enough though. Just stay on your push-ups, stay on your pull-ups, and then do burpees. You know what burpees is? Yeah, and do a bunch of them full body workouts and then add some strength training. Start strength training now, man. Give yourself a few years, you'll really be there. But just always eat what the animals eat for their protein that stimulates you. Always follow the gorilla. I studied the gorilla for like 6 years. And this main diet consists of dark leafy greens, bamboo shoots, and berries. And every now and then, if they in the high mountains, they eat like ants and stuff like that if they get starved out. But they mostly dark leafy green vegetables and fruits.
Okay, guys, we have a representative here from the school. They got some questions together they want to ask you. How you feeling?
Feel good, brother.
Thank you again for your time. We want to know, what are some simple, affordable foods? You know, we're all on a budget here. So what are some simple, affordable foods that we can incorporate into our diets that we got?
Simple, affordable foods. So I'm a farmer. I grow on 4 acres. I eat literally like 97% of my own foods. And they're the cheapest thing ever. So I think food start getting expensive when it's processed. You go to the store right now and go to the organic section and get you a sweet potato. One sweet potato is between $1.49 and $2. You can survive off of one sweet potato a day for the next whole year. So I think it's how we really look at foods. If you buy non-processed whole foods, it's way cheaper than going to McDonald's or going to the best vegan restaurant or buying all these ultra processed foods. So your dark leafy greens, watercress, you have things like kale, you have bok choy, avocados, you have any of your butter lettuces, apples, mangoes, bananas, plantains. As long as it's organic and it's in its whole food form, it's not expensive at all. What's expensive is going to the store trying to eat healthy with a vegan mindset. That's expensive. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to buy the box. The box got to look all pretty, so you don't want to buy it anyway. Then they got to take through all these different machines and processes to create this synthetic vegan food, and that is expensive. But if you literally eat like how God intended you to eat, man, that's a very, very cheap diet, man. Very cheap. Think about it. A bag of lentil beans that can last you for a month. A big bag of lentil beans, a gallon bag of lentil beans is only like $12.99. $12 for, I'm talking about a bag from here to the States floor. $12. And you know how many different dishes you can make with lentil beans? You can make lentil soups. You can make lentil rolls. You can squash the lentils up and make a patty out of it. Look like a hamburger. So I think it's our perception and how we're looking at the food. If you can buy the food in this holistic form, without it being processed, it's way cheaper. It doesn't have none of the additives, preservatives, fillers, none of the herbicides, insecticides, and pesticides on it. And it's very, very healthy to rebuild your molecular structure.
Thank you, thank you. And lastly, I want to ask, what role does spirituality, mental health, and all of this play together in our health journey?
Well, it all starts spiritual. So if you look at it, when we went back to the cells, atoms make up cells. And then these cells actually make up organs, and then organs make up organ systems, and then organ systems make up organisms. Well, what makes up atoms? Protons, electrons, and neutrons. Well, what makes up protons, electrons, and neutrons? It's called quantum fields, or these energetic forces of magnetism. That's spirit. So spirit always comes first. So your mindset, if you look at placebo, it's called the placebo effect, where these cancer patients went to the doctor, and the doctor did not give them medicine, didn't give them chemotherapy, gave them sugar pills. And just off of the spiritual belief that the doctor was going to heal them, these sugar pills, they went home and they tumors reduced in size, and they got rid of their diabetes and all of this off the sugar pills. Wasn't no medicine in them at all. It wasn't medicinal at all. But the belief from the doctor's knowledge of healing them, they took these fake sugar pills and their whole dynamic changed based off their belief. So what about if placebo exists, their beliefs no placebo exists too? What happens if you have it in you that this is in fact an incurable disease? Then you will never heal. What happens if you think you don't even deserve your healing? Then you will never heal. What about grief, anger? Did y'all know that every emotion has a chemical to it? So when you're angry, that's called epinephrine and neuroepinephrine. When you're afraid, that's called adrenaline. When you stress out, that's called cortisol. When you happy, that's called dopamine and serotonin. Everything and every emotion are in it. Emotion stands for energy and motion. Energy is all the Bible calls spirit. Scientific community calls it energy, but we're talking about this invisible force that really exists. So based off of these forces, your emotions, it actually changes the chemical composition in your body. And that's the reason why somebody is scared. What happens? Their heart rate starts speeding up. Because cortisol and adrenaline get released from the kidneys and go into the bloodstream to put you in a state of fight or fight. You want to run away from the danger. Then have stress on the kidneys and on the adrenal glands. Greed has stress on the liver. That's why most greedy people, if you look up the statistics, they end up with some type of liver condition. Whether it's cirrhosis of the liver, whether it's cancer of the liver, they have some type of liver condition from the greed. You see that? So every emotion that you experience is a biological change on your body. So spirituality, then when you look at the word spirit, right? Spirit just means breath. That's all it means, breath. So spirituality means the mastering of the breath. How many of y'all in here constantly breathe? Have y'all ever just sit back and say, let me focus on my breathing? Anybody? That's good. That's what spirituality is. It's having a conscious breathing, because your breath is what brings in oxygen, and every 150 trillion cells in your body actually requires oxygen. And without that oxygen, that's the beginning of disease, because it forces the cells to mutate. And mutated cells or mutagenic cells become cancerous cells. All this is spiritual. You are spiritual beings having a human experience at the end of the day.
Peace and blessings. My name is Kemper Pierce. I'm the Chief Wellness Officer at Life Camp. We're a nonprofit organization that works to stop gun violence among young people through the lens of public health. Thank you. So we started talking about it. We definitely believe a healthy mind and body creates a peaceful community. Could you talk a little bit more about the relationship between processed foods and violence, or the inability to self-regulate?
Definitely. So if you look, so technically, it's not in the textbooks yet, but a bunch of doctors and scientific research and evidence is now bringing forth that we have 3 brains. You have the central nervous system brain, and then your heart, the cardiovascular tissue actually holds memory in melanin neurotransmitter, which means that the heart is considered the brain, and last but not least, your digestive tract is what they call the second brain. So in your digestive tract actually have more communication with melanin neurotransmitters than the actual central nervous system. So when you're feeding your gut certain foods, if you're not feeding brain chemistry, then it messes you up. So for instance, what they did a study at an orphanage, right? And what they did with the study at the orphanage, they put people on an all raw, plant-based diet, and then they put the other ones that had these mental incapabilities on the regular processed food diet that they ate. Guess what they was doing? They was acting out, they was talking back, they couldn't pay attention in class, they couldn't do none of it. But the people that they switched over to the plant-based diet started receiving literature better, their behavior changed. You see that? So it shows you that processed food is a drug. They don't have any nutrients in it, but they put a lot of sugar in it to make you addicted to it. Just like the potato chip. And then when you look at whole foods have all the minerals that you need. This is scientifically proven. 99% of depression is the lack of minerals. It's mineral deficiency. So if you eating foods that don't have no minerals in it, and then before you go to school, you wonder why you don't like yourself, and you think you don't look beautiful, or you wonder why you ain't got no friends, and you look in the mirror and you hate who you are. Maybe it's some of the foods that you're eating, and you're not getting the right nutrition in your food to actually interact with your mind and your guts. You have 3 brains, family. So imagine feeding your brain all the junk. There's an old saying my teacher taught me: jump in, jump out. Healthy foods in produces a healthy mind, and produces a healthy body. So yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Anybody got anything? Y'all hear me good on this side? I guess I'm behind this time.
So this question is going to be for probably about 2% of the room. But I would like to know, what would you advise women who are going through menopause, who have a significant decrease in estrogen? I'm finding that estrogen is so important to the body and our systems and the way in which they function. And I don't understand why God take that away from menopause if it's so important.
I got you.
Yeah.
So whenever you look at menopause or you look at any type of hormonal type of thing, period. Any woman going through menopause, I would say eat high berry diets. I would say stay away from estrogen. You need to be more on a progesterone, pregnenolone type of hormone balance. It's a diet that's called a nutritional, plant-based, ketogenic diet. Write it down. Nutritional, plant-based, ketogenic diet. This is a progesterone dominant and a less estrogen dominant type of diet, and that usually will balance out your hormones. So berries, fruits, melons, dark leafy green vegetables, things like high in fats, your fatty acids, of course, and then make sure that you're taking, what you're going to do is you're going to get a little shot glass, 1 ounces, and get you some organic extra virgin olive oil and take a shot of it a day. And that'll help regulate your hormones. And you need to do a urinalysis test too. You just check your kidneys and your adrenals, because your adrenals, your pituitary gland, and your thyroid is actually in control of your reproductive organs and your hormone utilization. No problem. Okay. Giving it back to you.
One more question. All right, so I don't have a question. I want to just first of all thank you so much for the information. We all learned a lot. Give me a round of applause. And at this time, I would like to have Miss Etchi come up here, please. We're good.
I agree with that.
Okay, again, that's...
Question. I completed a 90-day juice fast. I have a little my issues. I want to do another one. So what's your take on doing another long juice fast while breastfeeding?
Juice fast while you breastfeeding? I would say don't do that. So now you can get on juice, but make sure you still eat, because what juice is going to do, since it's a ketone factor group of sugars, it's going to detoxify you. Now, all those toxins is going to lead through your memory nodes of your breast and go to the baby through the milk. You don't want the baby receiving all those toxins. So what I would do is go all raw into the juices.
I'm on 10 days again, so right now, I'm on 10 days right now. So that's good. I'm just trying to
get back into the solid foods. Get back. So it's only because all of those toxins are going to go to the lymphatic system, and one of your elimination pathways is your nipples and your breasts. So you don't want that to be mixing the food with the baby. So yeah, but look, plant-based raw. Well, plant-based raw and still do your juices. Just make sure that you get in your solids though, because you don't want that detoxification. It's all metabolites. You don't want the baby getting those metabolites.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to present you with a wonderful award. Here you go. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Have you had a good time so far?